What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Bad Catholic Dads podcast. I am one of your hosts, John Perez, alongside my co-hosts, just returning fresh from work camp, Derek Rogers. Derek, how's it going?
Hey, man, I'm trying to get this voice climbing back.
We will get into work camp. Like, real quick, I know we're going to talk about work camp in the future.
Yeah.
I want to know about your experience, but just real quick, in like a couple words, how was it, man?
It was extremely fulfilling. Exhausting but fulfilling. You know, tested every part of you, but it was great.
Awesome. So like I said, we'll talk about work camp and Derek's experience another time because, Derek, today we have a special guest. Please welcome for the first time on the Bad Catholic Dads podcast, TeeJ Barbour of Housetop Tees. Yay! TeeJ, how's it going?
Oh, great. Great to be on.
So, TeeJ, where are you located at right now?
So, Grove City, Ohio. It's a suburb of Columbus, Ohio, right? We're right in the smack dab in the center of the state.
Oh, man, very nice. And how is the weather in summer over there? Is it hot over there?
Yeah, it's hot.
Oh, my gosh. You can't escape the heat no matter where you go.
No,
really.
it's brutal.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. How's everything, dude? Like,
oh, man.
How's your summer going so far?
It's crazy busy. I was actually over in your neck of the woods taking a class for work.
That's right. You were what?
I was taking a class for work over in California, Maryland, which is not too far from you guys. But
yeah.
But my wife's family's from there, so.
Oh, no way, small world.
We brought the whole family over there, and they stayed
very cool
with their parents, and it was a good deal. But it's nice to be back, back at home.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So.
Sure. And did you guys go to the beach and do all that stuff?
Well, that was a separate trip out that way.
Okay.
We were down in Virginia Beach, which we love. We've been going. Her family's been meeting up there for the past few years now.
Oh, man,
we've fallen in love with it. We love the what do you call it? The street entertainment.
Oh, right.
It's just a unique element that, I mean, I've been to a few beaches here and there. It's just a unique element that you don't get elsewhere, which is it. I don't know. I love it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
Ziggy.
It's funny because like I'm from here,
yeah.
And like I lived here pretty much my whole entire life, right? And so me being from here, it's like I didn't appreciate kind of everything. You know, when you live somewhere, you don't really appreciate everything that goes on in your hometown or wherever you're from. Mm-hmm. And then when you move away, if you do move away, because I live in Washington, D.C. area now, anytime I go back, man, it's just like a special occasion, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, very cool.
But Ziggy's my favorite street performer. Have you come across him?
No, I've never seen. What's Ziggy?
So he's this lizard that there's a guy around the corner that's kind of watching people interact with him, and the guy has a mic that portrays it as if Ziggy's actually talking to the people.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
We were just at Magic Kingdom. I mean, Universal, and right near Harry Potter World, there's like this magic fountain that does like the same thing where the kids go up and he talks to them. You know, like someone's hidden and looking, and so he's like just messing with people and everything like that. And every now and then he'll squirt water out on some kids that are bad mouthing, and it's awesome. So it's like that same concept where it's like, oh, that's so much fun. Is it a live iguana, a lizard, or whatever it is?
No, he's a puppet. I'm trying to think. Well, yeah, he moves his mouth. I guess it's the guy with the mic is controlling his mouth from over there, I guess.
Okay.
Oh,
but he's like a 2 foot lizard or iguana or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
I'll have to next time I'm here and we go to the beach, I'll have to look for Ziggy.
No, I'm interested.
I've never heard of that in my life.
Yeah, I'm interested.
That's very cool, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, this is the Bad Catholic Dads podcast. We're kind of a podcast ministry where we, especially you, TeeJ, if you don't know, I'm sure you know a little bit about us, but we're basically a podcast ministry where what we're trying to do is build community of just dads, husbands, men, Catholic husbands, Catholic men, Catholic dads, and give them a place to kind of just hang out and talk about what it means to be a Catholic, not only a Catholic man in this world, but also a Catholic father, trying to bring our children up in the faith. And so I wanted to have you on. I know, dude, it's so funny because like I don't know how I found your t-shirt company.
Right.
But I think I just like was following some people on it's so funny they call it Catholic Twitter or whatever, a bunch of Catholic people on Twitter, and someone like dropped your shirt, and I was like, oh man, that's a really cool shirt, and
Okay.
I found your website, and I was like, oh, JP2, love JP2, got to get this shirt, it's really cool. So I find your message, and I find your t-shirt business and your company super interesting, and I definitely wanted to have you on, especially I was like, oh, he's a dad too, that's like perfect,
Right.
So when we have guests on, we're trying to, we try to provide value to our listeners. So we really wanted to, we're going to talk about House Top Tees, but I want to know who TeeJ Barbour is, it's your name, TeeJ Barbour, House Top Tees, or Jonathan Barbour, right? What's the thing with Jonathan TeeJ, by the way?
Well, so my name's actually Jonathan, but recently I got this idea kind of taken from half Chad Ochocinco and the maestro and half the maestro from Seinfeld, where
That's funny.
That's good.
So TJ is spelled with Tee. It's still pronounced TJ, but Tee for t-shirt, right? So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to have some fun with it,
I like it. I like it. That's cool.
Trying to
Very cool.
Trying to take things too seriously. Just
Sure.
So the other option on the board was T-Bone, which is a big thing from, I don't know if you guys Seinfeld fans, but George was trying to have his nickname be T-Bone, but it didn't work out for him because you have to see the episode, but so TJ isn't as over the top, so it's a little So that's why I went with TJ versus T-Bone.
Yeah,
So
sure.
people can take me halfway serious with it.
Yeah.
So.
But you mentioned Ocho Cinco, so I assume you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan. Why didn't you go after like TJ Hushmanzada or something like that?
Wait, sorry, say that again?
TJ,
are
you a Cincinnati Bengals fan?
Right, I'm a Bengal fan, and so.
It
has to do with the way that.
You spell it out.
Well, no, it has to do with the way that he literally changed his name. He went to whatever the government to officially change his name, and so eventually some people are going to be challenging me here to, hey, you actually got to if this is the real deal, then if you want us to call you TJ, then you need to go down to the courthouse and make it official. So
yeah. Well, we'll call you TJ on this podcast.
Yeah.
Start the train.
You're a bad Catholic dad official right now. You're TJ for us.
All right, cool.
So, TJ, hit us up. Like, what is your life? What is your vocation story? Start from the beginning. Like, you're growing up. Did you grow up in the faith? How did it all work for you?
I'm a cradle Catholic, and I've taken the faith as serious as through the stages of life, through high school, part of Life Teen, youth group, and in college, didn't fall away or anything. But
you're from Ohio the whole time, or you're born in Ohio? You're born in Ohio?
Yeah, born in Ohio, raised in Ohio. I went to college out in Colorado, so that was a big change for me. But I held on to the faith out there, and I joined the Air Force, and so, my faith was always a part of me in my time in the Air Force, and some of the, the big things, they had Focus out there at college, and I wasn't a part of it. I don't know why they had it. I wasn't a part of it, but it just so happened that I made it to one talk. Christopher West came and gave a talk. Nice. And it was
very nice.
Much needed, and for some reason I don't know why I went to it. To be honest, I forget. But
were you were in college? You said, or you were in the Air Force at this time?
Well, I was in college at the time.
You're college, okay. And you went to college in Colorado?
Yeah. Yep.
What college was that one?
The Air Force Academy. It's in Colorado Springs.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
But
so you go to Christopher West. You don't know how you got there. Or...
Yeah. That was a big turning point, just hearing that stuff. First time hearing that stuff, huge, needed it bad.
Sure.
And then from from there on out, so you go on active duty in the Air Force, and you each new assignment you meet new friends, and it's kind of I'm not the most social person, and so it's kind of like the folks you're working with. That's like those are your friends. Like I'm not going outside of work meeting new people. Kind of I'm not.
Sure.
That's not me.
Sure.
And so you're stuck with your group of friends who you're working with, and so you go on these deployments and the same thing, and you switch bases, and it's the same thing. And so where the hard part is, so I was stationed at Andrews Air Force Base for most of my time in your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
And so I was down at St. Louis Parish, which is, there aren't young people at the parish, let's put it that way. And so you're going to church by yourself, and you're living with your roommates, and I'm not the type to bring up the faith with my roommates. None of them were Catholics. It was a pretty lonely time. I was in the Air Force for 6 years, and I never,
Were you?
and I was go to mass every Sunday type Catholic, go to confession and stuff, but I wasn't going any deeper than that.
So So at this point, you're just going to mass every Sunday, going to confession, I guess, on a kind of inconsistent basis, or not really?
Yeah, on a consistent basis. And so
Okay.
the big turning point was my deployment. It was my second deployment to Afghanistan, where I had a lot of time you show up to work. So in Afghanistan, I'm on a huge base, right? I'm safe. I work in the offices. I might as well be on Andrews Air Force Base. I sleep on Andrews Air Force Base instead of driving home every day. And so you have the free time. I had a lot of free time. You come home from work, and I was just kind of doing a lot of reading and just kind of silent time, thinking about stuff, trying to figure out, because this was my time commitment was coming up when this deployment was over. I was at the point where, okay, you can either take a new assignment or you can get out of the Air Force. And so I got this idea. I was going to go teach. I wanted to teach because I had done volunteer stuff. So, and when I was in Alexandria, they were stationed at Andrews. I was doing St. Vincent de Paul, doing the outreach, going on
Awesome.
going on house calls. And so you got to see up close, like with my own eyes, the stuff that you hear about, the stuff people were going through.
Sure, yeah.
And so I came to this idea. I was like, and then I was also doing some volunteering at the Boys and Girls Club. And I was like, so I would help these kids I would tutor some of these kids, and they would come, and you'd hang out for like an hour a day, and it's like, an hour a day. No, it was less than that. A couple hours a week. I would go, like 2 days a week. But it's like, what's this 2 hours doing? Like, I'm not making a dent in as far as helping them with their school progress.
Sure.
And so I came with the idea that I was going to teach. I wanted to teach, and I'm a math guy, so like, yeah, I'll teach high school math. This is awesome. So I started looking into the teaching thing. I ended up taking another assignment. It was just they call it a short tour. It's a 1-year tour. I went down to Honduras for a year, which I had a lot of time down. So going into that Honduras job, I was like, oh, this will give me a year to figure out how to do this teaching thing, and figure out, I got to take classes and stuff to be able to teach high school math. And it was, so the same thing down there is a lot of, alone time, like just trying to figure out is this really what I want to do? So I got it all figured out. The other thing interesting thing was that I got this idea that I was going to try out for the Cincinnati football team. I was like, oh yeah, this will be great. You know, I can try out for this team for the football team. And
Wait, which football team? Like Cincinnati, like the
the
Bengals?
Bearcats. No, the college.
Bearcats. Okay.
Oh, okay, college,
yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
How that idea? You're just like,
well,
I love football. I'm going for it.
Well, part of it. So I played high school football. I played a year at at the Air Force Academy and just kind of gave it up. I mean, I was kind of at the bottom of the depth chart kind of thing. I was like, I don't
feel
like investing any more time in this. And so there's that. But then part of it was like I had this grand idea, like, oh, I gotta inspire these kids, and if I gave up on my dreams to play football, like, is this whole this like fairy tale I created in my head, like I gotta go for this, and that way I can at least like how am I gonna talk to these kids, like inspire, how am I gonna tell them to go do this and that, and if I've never even done anything or tried it, like went beyond. And so that's where that idea came from. And so this whole time in Honduras, I brought this set of weights down there, like I called the people that I was working for. I was like, hey, is there like a place where I can set up like this gym? Because I was trying to do Olympic weightlifting, because at the Air Force Academy, that's what the strength coaches had us doing the Olympic lifts.
Right.
And it was like, because there's a gym down there, right? But you can't do Olympic lifts at the gym. And so they had this shed that was just full of empty, stuff. They're like, oh yeah, you clean this shed out and set up your stuff and everything. So I was like, I was going all out, So I get down there and I set up. I clean out this. It takes me forever to clean this thing out. A couple of weeks. I'm cleaning this out, and I got my weights all set up, and I'm starting to lift, try to get back into these Olympic lifts, and I'm like, my back is just like getting like, I hurt my back, just like a slight. It's like it wasn't like a pull or anything. It was just my back started bothering me, and then like, to compensate for my back, like my knee was bothering me, so I couldn't train, and so I was in a rut down there, like, trying to figure out what was going on. But the big thing down there is that they had the Franciscan Friars of Renewal. So they didn't have a military chaplain on the base because of the small population on the base, and so they had the Franciscan Friars have a house in the town that the base is in. And so they would come on and say mass, and then also do a weekly Bible study, and that was huge, just to kind of see them, and we got the Catholic, or we got to go off base and hang out with them and see what they do and that kind of stuff. So that was a huge highlight for that tour down in Honduras. And
for your faith life, was that?
Yeah,
I know, like you said, in college, it was more kind of a surface level, but when you were in Honduras, was that kind of inspiring you a little bit more to dig deeper into your faith, to hang out, be with the Franciscans, first of all, Right, yeah. And back to the fairy tale, like, one thing that I feel like I didn't do a full, I don't know, like a full discernment while I was down there, like, it, because I had this fairy tale idea, like I was going to go teach, and this is what I was going to do. And so when I was down there, I was kind of I had tunnel vision, in terms of like being open to vocations, other vocations. But to answer your question, yeah, it profound for you.
Well, yeah, like it was like, oh man, these guys, it kind of challenged you to like, man, I need to take this a step further, kind of thing. Like, but at the same time, it never went to like, oh, maybe this is a path to possibly discern. But
well, and how was your emotion level right there? Like, once you were starting to get injured, when you're trying to, like approach the football stuff and your body's just not letting you, like, was there like any anger at that point, or were you was it just like, okay, maybe I can't do this? Like, what happened with that?
Yeah, it wasn't anger, it was more like, okay, you know, I'll rest it, it'll be fine, I'll be able to get this going, this training eventually. And it was never like, oh, you know, maybe this is just a dumb idea altogether. That never really. But it ended up. Sorry. It ended up that I never really. It was just kind of like this nagging. I never really picked up the training very hard. It was just a slow go, and I didn't make it anywhere with it essentially. But I wasn't. It was almost part of it too, is kind of like a procrastination kind of thing in addition to it. And over towards the end of the tour, we took a trip down to Costa Rica, and we were, one of my buddies, the buddy that I was stationed with down there, he owned a house in Costa Rica with his family, where he rented out or whatever. We went down to stay there, and we go to this waterfall. We're climbing around on it, I'm trying to climb up the side, the rocks along the side to climb up and get to a point where you can jump off into the water. And so I'm climbing up, and I get maybe it'd be maybe the equivalent of me standing on the rim. It'd be my estimate, maybe the rim, maybe not more than 15 feet, standing higher than that. But I got to a point where I couldn't climb any higher, and so I slipped, fell, bounced into the water, and the guy that owned the house in Costa Rica, who 15 minutes before I started climbing this wall, he was rappelling. He had a line tied to the tree at the top of the waterfall. He was rappelling down the thing. So thankfully he was finished with that. He's an adventure type, right? He was thankfully right there beneath me, getting ready to climb up, behind me. And so he was able to jump in after me. And he said I was at the bottom of that area. He's a scuba diver, and so he had to clear his ears on his way down. That's how far down I was.
Oh wow, that's deep.
And so they pulled me out, and I came to, and they had to drag me out. We had to hike into this place.
Wow.
And anyways, they ran to technically this guy's property, and so the guy had a stretcher at his house. They had to run up to his house through this mud and rough terrain, and so they carried me out of there to where an ambulance could take me. And so my head was cracked out, so it was just I had to get stitches in my head, and
man.
And so what happened? So I flew back to the base, just as I got stitches. And so at the base, they checked me out. They said, "Oh, we need to get you up to the capital city of Honduras to get a CAT scan, get a closer look at this thing." And so I had a skull fracture, and so they then, I guess it was that night, they actually medevaced me. Like, they had this. It wasn't even like a military plane they had come down. It was just like a civilian jet that flew.
Hello?
Yeah.
Still there?
Yeah. It wasn't a military.
Derek, are you there?
Yeah.
So they took me up to.
I got cut out. Did you guys get cut out?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Sorry, that was me then. Keep going.
Yeah, so they took me up to Texas, where they have a center there in Texas, it's Army base there, where they do the traumatic brain injury patients go. And so I was there. I mean, it wasn't a big deal. They checked me out there. They had the neurosurgeons there check me out, and it was. I mean, there wasn't anything. It was what it was, kind of thing. You have a skull fracture. Okay, you're gonna be fine. But I was there for a couple weeks, and I mean this kind of leads into that's where when I got on CatholicMatch.com, and so this is how I met Allie, my wife.
Oh wow!
So
yeah,
and so that was was a big thing that came out of that.
Did you join Catholic Match for what reason then at that point? Because this is after.
Yeah, it was. I mean, so it was partly I was nearing the end of my my tour there in Honduras. So I knew I was going to get out of the Air Force at that point. I was going to be heading back to Ohio, and so it was just okay. I'm going to go teach and try to find a wife kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
And that was. I mean, that's what I did. Well, the one of the reasons too is that I was in this hotel. I would go to like an hour a day of therapy, and so other than that, you don't have a car. You're on this this hotel's on base. Don't know anybody, and so okay, here's the hotel computer that you can hang out on. So that's where that whole thing got started. But so go ahead.
Well, I gotta interrupt you for a second because I know, like you were saying, in Honduras, you were with the friars, and you might have been open to that vocation, and then you obviously, being kind of isolated, and just, hey, here's the computer, and you're just like, hey, maybe I can find someone on Catholic Match. Did you, at this time in your life, how was your prayer life going, especially after that kind of traumatic injury, but also in terms of discernment? Were you just okay, maybe let me just try this out, and see where this leads, or was God calling you to this, or was it just more of kind of an on the cuff kind of thing?
It was. I feel like it was more. I feel like kind of in the back of my mind anyway. I knew so all this stuff. It's me. I have my own plan. I've been making up plans for my life.
Sure.
And this was all part of the plan that I made up. I was going to teach. I was going to go, and in teaching, I was going to try out for the football team that'll be go along with that teaching thing, and then the rest of the plan was to try to find a mate, as my wife's grandmother calls it. So, but yeah, I've kind of done that. Just kind of my whole life was just coming up with my own plans and
oh yeah, I hear you there, man. Yeah.
And you had your mind made.
Yeah, I had
So,
because that time in Afghanistan, just that we were there 6 months, and just a lot of quiet time reading, and not much going on. It's all right, this is what I'm going to do. And so once I got this idea of teaching, I was nothing was going to change my mind.
Is that part of just your personality? The fact that you stayed with your Catholic faith this long time on tours that aren't the most, Catholic kind of situations where you were surrounded by people that weren't Catholic. What was the thing that really kept you close to your faith during that time? Was it just either your stubbornness or just your family's upbringing with you, or was it easy for you?
It was easy, yeah. It was second nature, and I feel like a lot of it probably had to do with my upbringing. Is just this is what you do.
It's just who you are. Because I can see people's prayer life and just spiritual nature just kind of slowly draining out unless they are really focused on keeping that faith alive in their life.
Yeah, and I mean, there was always this just the struggle with purity too that was always there. That's been a big struggle for me, and I feel like it's just I don't know how but just
you just stayed the course. You just stayed the course.
Confession, it's people disagree with confession. No way. This, I can't imagine. I don't. Without it, I don't know. I don't know. who knows what would happen?
That just
like,
helps you get those graces
like,
going.
Yeah, you just keep going.
Definitely.
Well, and then you jumped into Catholic Match, like, which is like a cool like thing. You didn't try any other dating services. You just went right for Catholic Match.
Well, yeah, that was just kind of a random. I don't know. I didn't know about it. I think I was maybe looking up dating sites, and
Yeah.
I came across that somehow, and I was like, oh, I'm Catholic.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Definitely.
How
So
long until you got a nibble on that Match profile?
It wasn't too long. Because part of the thing, one of the things on that, there's folks that aren't paying members, and so they can't do anything
Gotcha.
back. So you send messages, and then it's like, oh, they're not interested. But the other thing is maybe they're not a paying member, and so
Right.
so it's just misleading in that regard. But there was one. I was so bored there too, because there was a point where I wasn't getting any nibbles, and I was just IMing this one girl back and forth, and just I kept telling her like these fun facts about Ohio, like just messing with her, like telling her what like Ohio means, like the Ohio is a Iroquois name that means great, and I would tell her all these I was just kind of goofing off, and it was.
Hey, it's a good one.
That's what you do when you're stuck in a hotel by yourself for 4 weeks.
So when did you meet Allie during this time, or through Catholic Match, I guess?
Yeah, so this wasn't till, because I still had to go back to Honduras and finish out my my tour.
Oh, so you had to heal up first and then go back?
Yeah, my tour wasn't over. But by the time I went back, there was about a month left on my tour, and so. But even so, Allie didn't come about until after I got out back to Ohio, and so with her things went pretty quick. Because I was this great idea to become a teacher required me to go to school, and University of Cincinnati was on quarters, and so they didn't start till September. Like 23rd was the first day of class. And this was like mid-March when I got back to Ohio, and so I had this idea where I was just going to study to learn math, because I had to take these math courses. I haven't taken an advanced math course in a while, so I was just going to lay low until September and just go work on the farm I worked on in high school and study math, hang out with family, and catch up with people I haven't, been around the past 10 years in the Air Force. And so that obviously it worked out because Allie was in Maryland and I was in Ohio, and I had plenty of time to go back and forth and do a crash course courtship. Go and stay at her parents' house and hang out for all day for 4 days, kind of thing. And she'd come to Ohio, and things progressed pretty quick.
Yeah. So you knew right away then, like that this person was like just one of the special ones.
Yeah.
And you're willing to. That's like long distance stuff is tricky.
Right. It is. And so, just with our setup, she was a youth minister, and so she had this was over the summer mainly, so she had a pretty flexible schedule. I went on the Heart Work camp with her and her kids.
Oh, awesome.
That summer. Yeah, that's what you.
Oh, did you? That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
and you had some. Yeah,
we went down to
That's
Greensboro
nice.
for ours.
Yeah.
So it progressed quick, and she ended up moving to Cincinnati. So the funny thing, this is a good story. Well, I don't know how you guys might appreciate. It's not that. I think it's good. So we got this idea. Oh, you just
Yeah, sure.
want you to move to Cincinnati. So we're apartment shopping in Cincinnati, and we are on a budget, right? And so we're going into these apartments, and like everything is, it's like, oh, she's not gonna like any. So there's just something wrong with everything, kind of thing. And we're just getting super frustrated. I'm frustrated because there's no way this is going to happen on our budget, or on her budget. I was going to, front a portion of the rent for her. I was going to stay at my buddy's house down there. But we stumbled upon this apartment. It's this old building with, it doesn't even look like an apartment complex. It's just like there's probably like 8 apartments in it, and it's old. And I was like, what? There's no way. And she loved the thing. It was cool, but at the same time, it was old, and it was kind of it was halfway run down just because it was old. But she loved it, and then the rest is history. That was so she moved there, and I did the schooling in Cincinnati, and we ended up getting married that following May. So we had a quick turn on that.
Yeah. So how long were you guys dating at this point then?
Yeah. Well, so the engagement happened in February.
Before you guys got engaged, yeah.
So what's that? May to February. 9 months.
How did you ask? What was that like? Got to know that story. We got to know all that stories.
Well, so I had her ring. I had it for a while, and I had the thing. It was in the back seat of my car. I just had it in there. Like I didn't even open it to look at it or anything. And so she likes to tell this. She could tell. She's a good storyteller. I'm sitting here I can't tell a story worth to save my life, but
right.
I have this ring that has just been in the back seat of my car, and it was Valentine's Day. I had class that, like an evening class that night. Get out of there at like 7. Get home, get to her apartment at 8. And I just dropped on a knee when I walked in the door. That's all. I mean, I just went.
And was that planned or not planned? Sounds like it was
my plan.
Oh yeah, well I guess it was planned, right?
Yeah, because it was like, because I didn't have anything. Like I didn't go all out and do some fancy setup or have people videotape me or anything.
I hear you. Yeah.
Who would do that? Yeah. Who would do that?
But yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was. But the plan though, I mean, I wonder when I actually came up with that. It was like you know what I mean? I don't know if I thought of that as I was driving back from class, or I forget that.
You're just inspired.
Well, the plan was to actually ask that day, but I don't. The delivery, which wasn't
sure,
it was nothing crazy of the delivery, but
sure, very cool. So you guys, you get married, and everything is going well. You guys have kids? Like, how many kids do you guys have?
Yeah, so we have 3 kids. They're a year and a half apart. 4. So what does that make? 4, 2.5, and 1.
Yeah. Very cool. And their names?
Vincent's the oldest.
Okay.
Anne, you can call her Annie. Is the second, cool. And Helena is the third.
Very cool. Very cool. I kind of want to move forward a little bit. I don't want to end it. Obviously, it's very cool stories. Let's talk a little bit about Housetop Tees. Like, tell me, like, how. I found it so fascinating, your story and kind of reading your website, like the About Us section. Just dive a little bit more deeper in that. Where did the inspiration come from?
Okay, yeah.
For creating Housetop Tees, and even if you want to explain the name and everything, because now that I'm listening to your story and like you being in the Air Force, you getting injured, meeting Allie on CatholicMatch.com, but like, how did you get from, I guess,
I wouldn't guess it either.
To creating your own awesome Catholic T-shirt website? You know what I mean? It's so cool.
Yeah, so, this is, since we got Mass, so I started, this is, so 2016, January 2016 was kind of our debut. We went to the March for Life. They have an expo. We had a booth there, but,
oh, that's cool.
So that's when we started.
Nice.
That puts a timeline on when we got
we'll
started.
We'll have to do that, Derek.
And so basically, I've always been a T-shirt guy. I'm
Definitely.
going on a first date. I'm wearing a t-shirt. I don't care. Um,
Right. Heck
So-
yeah.
Did you have a go-to type of T-shirt? Just white T-shirt, or are you going sports T-shirt?
well, it's a vintage. Where did I find this one? I found this one actually in Colorado at a thrift store. Actually, it's just a nature scene, but it's a cool shirt. I should post it for everyone to see, but it's anyway, it's a nature scene. It's a Colorado. It says Buena Vista on it, and has a mountain scene on it. That's my go-to shirt. But
Nice.
but the t-shirt thing. So, my older brother started. He started wearing. Well, see, this is the best way to put this. Not the best way to put it, but to kind of put it in order. Well, so growing up, right, it was sports T-shirts. I played sports growing up. That's what you wear. You wear the Bo Jackson was my hero growing up.
Yeah, that's funny.
I was into the WWF wrestling, like the late '80s, early '90s stuff, Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan era.
Nice. Yeah.
And so that's the stuff we wore growing up. Bo Jackson was the biggest, and then jumped on the Michael Jordan bandwagon, and so I'm trying to think. So get to college. So the thing with going to college, joining the Air Force, is that you become more proud of where you're from, and so in college and in my time in the Air Force was okay. I'm gonna wear shirts that have to do with Ohio, and I like finding stuff. Go to the local thrift store and you could find just kind of something like from the county fair shirt from 1995 or something and stuff like that.
Right.
And but so the whole thrift store idea kind of came from my brother. He started doing it. I was like, oh, this cool. And so I was wearing these vintage T-shirts, yada yada. And then these here in Ohio, there's these Ohio Pride T-shirt companies where they'll put the state of Ohio, like how many ways can they put the state of Ohio on a T-shirt kind of thing, like
Sure.
like how many words can you write with the shape of Ohio, or how many things do you love because Ohio, the shape of Ohio is like a heart,
It's like
right?
a heart. Yeah.
It's kind of like these, like we just found out what the shape of Ohio was. Like you rewind back to whenever before the first map came out, and like as if that we just found out that Ohio was in this cool shape of a heart, and so now we're putting out these T-shirts like this is the coolest thing ever. And so
Yeah.
I was wearing these things too. I jumped on board, and so I moved back to Ohio, and it's like, wait, I'm proud of Ohio, but it's not the same when you're in Ohio and you're wearing an Ohio shirt. It didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And so I went through some other phases. I started wearing these shirts with animals on it. I don't know. It's because my brother for a gag Christmas gift, just kind of half joking, like he got me this shirt with wolves on it. It was just a black old shirt with wolves on it, and so that kind of led me into I was just started buying these animal shirts. I don't know why. I was just
awesome.
I was trying to be funny or something, like this
Yeah.
was. And so then I got into this phase of Christmas shirts. I was going to wear these commercialized Christmas shirts all year round. And that'd be cool and funny. And so the one thing with the Christmas shirts, it was like I was trying to find a real Christmas shirt, and I couldn't find one. I mean, maybe I didn't look.
Sure.
And so that kind of got the juices flowing a little bit. It didn't set me in motion yet, but then so then fast forward from that Christmas, fast forward a year even. So where we here in Ohio, my wife likes to complain about the weather in Ohio. She's she's from your neck of the woods, which I keep telling her, like, I'll check the weather, the forecast in both spots, and it's like, I was like, it's not that much better in DC. Yeah. Come on. But anyway, so we in the winter we go on mall walks. Where she was pregnant, so we would go on these mall walks, and there was this new kiosk that was there that had these. They were like kind of like a vintage style, but they were patriotic, like American history T-shirts. So there was like like a cool shirt of George Washington, Paul Revere's riding on his horse through, colonial wherever it was, and I was like, oh man, these are awesome. And I actually got excited, like, America, like, I'm proud to be an American, kind of like excited to be about our history, like, especially like the Revolutionary War era. There was this shirt with a Cannonball 13 carved in. I was like, oh man, this is awesome. Yeah, that's
cool.
And
so for you, was that more?
This was it. This was my.
Yeah. And you were just like, let me do this, but let me apply it to my faith,
Yeah, and so I was like, I didn't buy a shirt, but I, kind of went home. I was like, that's cool, but there's something way cooler. There's some way cooler dudes.
Yeah.
And gals
women.
that. Like I'm not even gonna waste my time with these shirts. And so I started doing research. Look, because I never saw, other than the Christmas shirt, wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna go look for this or that Catholic T-shirt or anything. I never looked, and so I went. I was doing the research, looking for Google Catholic T-shirts, and I wasn't finding any in this vintage style that I was, that was what I liked, and so that's I saw this void. I mean, there's a good amount of Catholic T-shirt companies out there, and they're putting out good stuff, but it wasn't my style.
It wasn't that like kind of graphic vintage style tees,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how did you get the name, by the way? Like, what's the story behind the name?
So my wife had this. She had this idea for this idea to call it shine, like to like shine your light kind of thing.
Okay.
And so there's this big long process. I was trying to. This trademark stuff is time consuming, and so I was trying to research, does someone have this name? I actually got a hold of the guy that had it, and he was like, oh yeah, no, I'm still, cause I thought maybe he didn't care. It was like, he didn't, I was trying to find like his company or whatever, but he's like, oh yeah, no, I'll sell it to you for this some big, large sum of money, like $50,000, because he has some clothing company or something.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's like, I don't even have a good story for it, because I mean, this was very painful though, trying to come up with a name. And I'm trying to think like how, I mean, it was a very long process. Just, I was kind of reading through scripture, because I was trying to find things related to shine, like lamps and lights and stuff. And to be honest, like, this is a very good question. I don't, like, this is a bad story because I don't even know, but it has to do with, like, I don't know how I came up with it. Like, well, I mean, because there's the term, like, you hear people say, go tell it on a mountain, kind of, that slogan or whatever, or so, I guess that's a song, kind of got it in my head somehow, and like, mountains, and proclaim it from, like, the housetop thing.
Yeah.
It came to me somehow. Because thinking back, I don't remember if that is like, was that something that's kind of, I've always known that passage, or is it more that I kind of stumbled upon it, like, if that makes sense. But there's a passage, it's, well, it's tricky. So it's Matthew 10:27. Jesus is talking to the disciples, and he says, see, I should have this pulled up. that which I
no
whisper
worries.
in your ear, or yeah, the translation goes something like this: or that which you hear in your ear, that which is whispered in your ear, proclaim upon the housetops. And so it's like, all right, this housetop, this is cool.
Which works really well because,
Yeah.
I mean, the whispering in the ear, it's not like a big bulletin board that's telling you to use its name. It could have been God influencing you in some small way, you know, and then it's just that whisper. Now, people are wearing it around. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so
That is really awesome.
yeah, it's cool. I mean, I still love the name. I'm glad that the name Shine didn't work out, because my wife and I laugh
Definitely.
about
See
it
how
like
that
that's
worked. Yeah.
I can't believe we were
Plus,
even
I mean,
considering that.
$50,000, right?
I can't believe we were considering using that name to begin with.
Sure. It's
Kind of
funny.
thing.
It's funny how, like, when you're like thinking of being, when you're creative and you're, when you finally have something and you kind of look back on kind of the beginnings of something, you're like, man, like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
Because I remember, like, when we were thinking of our name for our podcast, if you don't know the story, like, just real quick, like, Derek and I were thinking of something. I think Derek, weren't you thinking of like something with fatherhood or like fathers or something like that?
Yeah, we were throwing out
just like
all different
like
kinds
super
of names.
basic, kind of
Yeah.
like Catholic father hangout or something. I don't know. And
Right.
and I was just like, well, like, I mean, bad Catholic dads, like, it just came to me as well. Like, I had some inspiration from people I was following on Instagram. The word bad, and like not in terms of like doing bad things, but in terms of being like, it's the other way people use bad is like
And imperfect,
cool,
yeah.
or like something really rad, but also like not even being perfect. We're not the best dads, we're not perfect dads, but we're trying. And so for us, like, being fathers, and for us, fatherhood is like huge on us. Like, it affects everything we do. It affects the business, the podcast, obviously. I mean, we have dads in the sentence, but for you, how has fatherhood affected your business? Like, because I know, how does it affect the creative process going? Like, are they inspirations to you? Stuff like that, or
Inspirations as in
I don't know, just
I'm saying like it's in like there is that inspiration. Like I want this thing. Part of me wants it to work out because I want the kids to be like, oh yeah, to see, because when they get older, I want them to see like this business is still alive, and and they're able to see that, oh, the faith is important to him.
Definitely.
That's a big inspiration to, when I'm tired after putting the kids to bed, and
Right.
like let's keep this thing going because there's more at stake than, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I'm
So
with
there's
you.
that.
Totally with you.
There's the other thing too is that, so I started out, I just did 2 kids size shirts, and so just the kids wear them, and they know, like, oh, this is my housetop. Even my 2.5-year-old, like, oh, what Vinny's wearing his housetop tee kind of thing, and they know who's on the shirt, but I only have 2, and so it's like, man, I need to get these kids some more shirts because they like them.
Yeah.
They actually. I mean, it's the same thing as them wearing my 2.5-year-old has Elsa shirts, and it's like they enjoy the housetop tees just as much as the Elsa shirt, like the people that are on them.
Nice.
That's so cool, man. That's so cool.
I mean, I feel like part of that's
sorry,
just like little kids. Like we bombard them with all this, Disney, and my kids wear a Spider-Man. He's never seen Spider-Man movie, but he has like a shirt, and so he loves Spider-Man, but he doesn't really know what he does.
Yeah.
So and then the other thing too, we went to this, like, there's this we went to the All-Star game in Columbus. The hockey team had this All-Star Expo, and there's these mascots running around everywhere. They love these mascots. Like, they have no idea what these things are, but they love them. And so it's like, put these saints and stuff on these kids' t-shirts because they're gonna love them, and you can tell them about them, and they're gonna love them because it's on their shirt, and they also have a cool story to tell about them. Whereas these other folks are, it's like, oh, I find myself telling them that they're not like find myself telling them like, oh, well, Elsa's not like, I feel bad, but like, Elsa's not real
Yeah.
Like
Oh, that's funny.
I have
That's
trouble
funny.
balancing my.
What's
keeping a
so
healthy-
what is your creative process like in terms of, how did you, I guess, like, were you always an artist, or did you take graphic design classes,
Well,
or how
so here's the thing. Everything gets farmed out. I
Okay.
I have
You come
a
up with the ideas, I guess.
my buddy. So part of this, so I had this idea of making Cali t-shirts in the back of my head after, finding this t-shirt kiosk, and I go to work. At work, I do construction management, and so I'm in this other office talking to this other gentleman that works on the base where I work. We're doing a project for his stuff, and we're talking about comic books for some reason. He's one of those guys that just he'll talk your ear off kind of thing, and so he's telling me about his comic books and how he does his own comics and he illustrates for him. And so I'm like, can you do like illustrate? Because number one, starting a t-shirt company, and I know zero art. I mean, I can't make whatever
Yeah, dude.
renditions of saints and
I'm with you.
whatnot. And so it's like, what, like, this isn't even really an idea because it's not. And so I get talking to this guy, and he says, "Oh yeah, we can. I won't do it, but I have a buddy that I do comic books with. I can see him doing something like that." And so then I talked to my Air Force buddy, who he's an artist. He does just kind of like freelance stuff, and I talked to him like, "Hey, what do you think about doing t-shirt designs for me? I would just tell you everything I want on it." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I do that." His brother works at like a cheerleading center, and he designs shirts for them. And so I started using him along with this guy's comic book buddy, and I mean it's painstaking because you're emailing back and forth like little details, and I'm super picky, and like the art, like half the time I think these artists want to like reach through the computer screen and just like hate, like,
Choke you.
calm down, dude. Like,
Yeah.
this size font is like, I mean, it's little things, but and so I give them the ideas, and they email the designs back. We go back and forth and with the changes. And that's how it works. It's time consuming, and
Yeah. And it sounds like it's not your full-time job, correct?
yeah, I have just a 9-to-5 job, and so this gets after 9 o'clock. Well, in the summertime, the bedtime's been slipping.
Yeah.
And so I don't get to t-shirt work until like 9:30 every night.
Sure.
And by then,
Man.
sometimes it's I have to hang out with my wife too, so kind of thing.
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, I hear
It's
you.
not like put the kids to bed. And
dude,
then,
that's crazy. That's cool. Yeah.
and then
Right. What's next for House Top Tees? Like, are you looking to just grow more, or like what's the future for House Top Tees?
so I mean I come up with ideas all the time, and a lot of them are probably ridiculous. So well, the ideas, I'm going to keep putting out new designs. I'm just going to keep going with them. We have that event poster. I want to keep doing those. Not as so the focus will be t-shirts to get more and more of those out with on a lesser scale with some t-shirt or event posters, and then I want to do stickers as well, which I haven't. But I want to do it in a kind of a different way, that kind of like a feast day type stickers. So I need to get those rolling, and then I mean there's other ideas, like, as crazy as it sounds, like I want to do a Catholic sitcom where And I came up with this idea the other day. I don't even know if I told my wife about it. She's gonna laugh at it when I tell her about
Bad
it.
Catholic Dads exclusive, Derek. We got a Bad Catholic Dads exclusive.
But just like random things like that, like make things Catholic. That like there's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
There's things should
I
be.
always say this. Yeah, I mean, sorry to interrupt you, but I always say like, for me on my side, like we have like Derek and I have so many ideas too for Bad Catholic Dads. Like the podcast is just like the tip of the iceberg, you know.
Mm-hmm.
For us, it's like, you know, the reason why we wanted to do this podcast is because when we were looking online for just a lot of dad things, father, like there's a lot of resources for women and moms, but for us, when we were looking at doing something, there wasn't a lot for fathers, you know, for men. And you know, and even going taking that a step further, there's not a lot of good Catholic, you know, entertainment out there as well, you know.
Right.
And in us, like what we were saying in a couple of podcast episodes ago was that, you know, God deserves to be, you know, on the internet, on social media, on
Right.
you know, not just in our churches, not just at Catholic events, not just at conferences or whatever, you know.
Right. You bring it to the people. I mean, they're
Right.
That's where the people are.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
It's what they're using, what their forms of entertainment.
That's cool.
And so
yeah. So thank you for
that.
sharing, man.
Yep.
Yeah. That's cool.
Well, so the other
Okay.
idea. Sorry, you
No.
asked for ideas. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
The other,
You're gonna just give them it.
I'm just gonna
Yeah.
start saying stuff because maybe I'll
All the
inspire
secrets are
someone
coming
else.
out.
Maybe I'll inspire someone else where I won't have to do these things.
Sure.
The other thing is, Housetop Trees is a Christmas tree farm where it's set up like a Civil War reenactment, but the reenactment is Bethlehem at time of Jesus' birth. So
Okay.
there's that idea, and so the selling of the trees would fund people could. So I mean, I don't know if you've seen Civil War reenactments, but I feel like it's a pretty big like. If people get into this stuff, like this is their thing, and so, I mean, if people are doing that for Civil War, why can't they be doing that for?
Yeah,
I mean, people love
Christ
Christmas.
Yeah,
Right.
People love Christmas. It's not, you know what I mean. You can get you don't have to be Catholic to come where kind of like you're from Bethlehem in the year,
Right.
0, whatever it was officially.
Right. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. That's so
there's
cool.
that. I probably have some more ideas, but
No worries. Yeah, it sounds great, man. That sounds exciting,
go big or go home. That's what I always say,
dude.
If you can't,
100%.
If you can't run with a big dog, stay on the porch. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Or like, one thing I'll say is like, when you do something, make sure you do it, to the fullest. Like don't go halfway,
Right.
or it's not going to work out. It's just, or don't even get into it.
Right.
So TJ, we have some listener questions for you, and then we have a couple questions ourselves. If you don't know, Housetop Tees and Bad Catholic Dads are doing a giveaway right now. You can go to our Twitters at Housetop Tees or at Bad Catholic Dads to find out how to enter the giveaway. We're giving away 2 T-shirts of your choice. Go to our Twitter or go to our Facebook or Instagram, whatever, our social media. So one of the things I did, TJ, was you could, for an entry drawing, right, for a chance to win a T-shirt, ask Housetop Tees a question when he comes on the podcast. I got a couple questions for you. The first question, and I can't see the name, I wish I could, but the first question is, which saints will you be making shirts about next?
Oh wow, good question.
If you don't mind sharing, you don't have to share.
No, that's fine.
Keep it a secret.
Yeah, I don't.
Or how about this?
secrets.
What saints were you thinking are in your mind?
No,
of
yeah.
like,
So
hey, this could
we have
potentially
some
be a
coming
cool
out
shirt.
soon. We have Padre Pio, Saint Francis of Assisi. What else am I doing?
Oh man, nice.
Saint Michael, Saint Max.
Oh yes.
See, I'm losing my. Oh, Saint John Vianney and who's the other one? There's one more good one.
I saw that
big
you
one.
had a. Oh,
And
good.
they're all good.
I saw that you had a Saint Kateri one. I love that because it's my daughter's name.
Nice. I apologize. That one's not in kids. That was
Yeah, I know. I was looking.
bad
I was like, oh,
move.
come on, man, you're killing me.
Bad move. So all the new ones that I print are gonna have, for the most part, are gonna have kids with them.
Nice.
Okay. Cool.
There's St. Francis de Sales,
Oh, that's a good one.
and then, but that's not the one that I was trying to think of.
Is he apostle? Is he
He's newer.
newer? Saint, definitely a saint.
Yeah.
Who's a new saint? I don't know.
Oh, brother. So there's Brother Andre. Are you guys familiar with Brother Andre? This is a good. Do you guys know Brother Andre?
No, I don't know. I don't know, brother.
Have you
I
ever
don't
heard
think
of
so.
him?
No.
Yes. Well, so that helps me to kind of get a feel for his you know what I mean, his how popular he is.
Right.
Because this is the hard thing though, because it's so a Catholic T-shirt company, right? You're researching saints, and so they're not obscure to you anymore after you've read about them.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so it's hard to get like what is the
Yeah.
the guy sitting next to me at mass? Does he know?
Yeah, you need test subjects.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. I could
Um,
understand that right there. Let's move on to our next question. I think we're running a little bit out of time. TJ, if you don't mind me just kind of skipping ahead. Number 2, this is a pretty deep question. Maybe you can answer. This person says, recently worked with a graphic designer to design a T-shirt for a Catholic youth conference. The original design was not approved by those who hold the purse strings. T-shirt was deemed too controversial. Instead of a crucifix, the request was for a more welcoming and inclusive image. The suggestion was to find a happy crucifix. Read Resurrected Christ with a bare cross. What is your... here's the question. What is your line, if you have one, that will not cross, that you will not cross, all pun intended, when it comes to religious symbols or phrases that may be deemed too controversial for the general public, non-believer, or lukewarm Catholic? I guess what this person's asking is like, do you have a line that you won't cross, or do you for when it comes to your T-shirts?
I would lean more towards what this person's trying to do. Meaning, I'm not trying to make everybody happy. It's more like
Right.
like let's put what's it called on the shirt? Paul VI's encyclical on a shirt. I don't remember what it's called. No, yeah, I'm not trying to. I'm leaning
Right.
towards that person's that person who answered the question. Right.
Right. And you
Yeah, because you don't want to water down the faith. It
personally.
sounds
So
like.
you don't have to answer.
Yeah,
anyone,
that's
you know what I mean.
That's, I love that fact.
very cool. Derek, do you have any questions for TJ?
Do you for your T-shirt company? Do you do like bulk ones? I'm just asking because we have a junior high work camp coming on where we'll have a theme and everything. And do you do bulk orders like 150 plus?
Meaning you have a design.
Well, it depends. Either one. If we have a design, is it something that we can speak to you on, or is if we're looking for a design? Can we? What do you?
Well,
do
so
with,
yeah,
if you
so
get, like a bulk order.
Well, no, so I get this question a lot. So, how do I explain this? So, like if you're wanting me to come up with a design, or let's say you had a design and you want me to print it and just mail them to you, it's not beneficial to me. Like even with me marking it up or whatever. Like at this stage in the game, it doesn't I'd rather I don't want the that markup money. I'd rather have the more time to come up with the designs and work website maintenance and stuff like that. And so, but then on the other side, if you wanted me to design something, kind of the same thing. Like it's because it's time consuming even come up with a design.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, like, if you start talking to me about a design for one of your events, and I'm also trying to get a design out before a feast day or something, like there's a lot of feast days in October. I'm trying to get something out, like, I don't know, someone's feast day right before it.
St. Francis of Assisi is in October, yeah. So if you're
so I can't. I'm not in a spot to be doing. And so what I would say is you'd be better off just going to your local T-shirt screen print printer because they could do the same thing. I mean, they're going to mark it up, obviously. I mean, I could probably do it cheaper for it, but not by that much.
Because like I'm definitely in the thought process, and I think a lot of other Catholics that would be listening that we can go to one of these big dealer secular people, but if we want to support our Catholic brothers, you know, like we'd like to go do that.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, yeah, because that's what people like. I go to the men's conferences. I feel like people ask me that question because they want to help me out, give me business or whatever. But I'm not set up to be doing that kind of thing.
Okay,
that makes sense.
Oh, sorry. Do you have another question, Jared?
No, I was just curious because, you know, we're looking at St. Catherine of Siena as like, be who you were created to be and you'll set the world on fire. And that was going to be our junior high work camp theme. And I was just curious if like, because I like just listening to you, I was like, oh, I would love to do this through, you know, the housetop tees. And I was just curious if it was like something that, you know, was possible. So,
I mean, we need a St. Catherine of Siena shirt.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So you're trying to get that quote on there?
Yeah, or something like just the theme T-shirt, because the theme of the whole week is going to be like "Set the World on Fire" or something like that. And you know, it's always I do this every year, and I find different people to either help with doing it, and I'm like searching this year for it. So I was just curious. That was just my question.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What? Yeah, John, did you have a question?
I guess trying to piggybacking off your question. Do you is everything that you do for housetop tees? You were talking about kind of farming it out, kind of managing it. You're at the top, kind of managing it down. Is the screen printing done through a third party, or do you have a screen? Do you do the screen
no,
printing?
No, I don't do it.
Or how?
Yeah, I just go to a. So I buy the shirts wholesale straight from the dealer.
Right.
So that saves me some money. And then I drop them off at the screen printer, and they print them.
Sure.
I mean, screen printing is there's no way, like, even let's say like this thing blows up, like I don't want to mess with it.
Right.
It's a big deal. I mean, there's those other maybe some folks use those heat press things. I don't know if you've seen it. Yep. But that's totally different ball game. You make those one at a time.
Like a lot harder too, yeah.
But equipment's cheap.
It's such an interesting like business. Like, for instance, we just had our high school work camp that I just came back from on Saturday, and we had to design our T-shirt for it. The theme for the camp itself was the road, and it was focused on the road to Emmaus. So with the students, we had to come up with an idea and in turn talk to like an artist to do it, and then another company to do the T-shirts. So we ended up, because we were going to Norristown, Pennsylvania, so we were talking about getting Chuck Norris involved in it somehow, and we're using the road theme. And one of the students, a shout out to Nick Zazzo, he came up with where we're going, we don't need roads, and have a DeLorean on the shirt. Right. And then we talked more about it, and we had Jesus in the driver's seat, like lifting up glasses, and Chuck Norris was in the passenger seat, and that was our T-shirt design. And it was just like, when you were talking earlier about like trying to relay messages to artists, it is very difficult. When you get the proof back, you're like, oh, that wasn't what I was thinking at all.
Right. No, that happens all the time.
And I recognize how like it must be really difficult for like, you two to be, dealing with someone to create this, especially if there's a deadline, like with what you're saying, like it does take a lot of work, and I respect like so much of what you're doing with, it seems like you're definitely more comfortable with making your design and working on it and then selling it rather than taking a big wholesale item, of me going to like, hey, I need you to design this by this date, for like 200 T-shirts. You're more of like the art side of it, like what you see and making it into the product you want. It seems like that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah, that's really cool. I respect that you're able to get that image, what you want, to someone to help draw it. I mean, it takes a special kind of communication to get that done, so good job with that.
No, there's tons of times where it just comes back as, but did you read my email? Kind of like, there's no way you read my email. You read the first sentence, maybe. Or you just, All
right, TJ, last two questions before we got to go. Hardest part about owning your own t-shirt business?
There's a lot of behind the scenes. Social media is a grind. Trying to keep up with that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And just the website. Like right now, we're trying to redo the website, and I don't know websites, and so I mean, just that in itself, and then what else? Just the website and dealing with the artists, finding artists.
Oh, so you have to find
Well,
more
sometimes
than one artist.
Well, yeah. So I mean, I've kind of branched out. Like, let's try to just let's try to make some stuff happen faster, kind of thing.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, the behind the scenes stuff, just inventory, the expenses, trying to keep track of everything versus trying to stay organized, kind of thing. So
sure. What is last question I have for you, and it's kind of a fun question. What is the best t-shirt design you created or you're most proud of to this date?
I'm gonna forget my t-shirts. I think Miguel Pro.
Yeah, that one's cool.
I mean, it is kind of like, okay, someone might think, I can see where someone might think it's a little over the top, putting the execution on a shirt, but like his is probably the coolest story. I would argue, and so having that last part of his story on the shirt there,
yeah, that's really cool. The site is neat because you have like a lot of cool designs on there. I was laughing when I looked at it, and you have the Vote for Pedro spinoff with the Vote for Pope Francis. Like, I really like that.
Yeah.
That was really cool. Yeah, and I like the other one you were mentioning too.
What's up with the Matt Burke one? I like that one. First of all, I gotta say, like, did you have to talk to him to get that? But also, I'm gonna say this too. Dude, you're a Cincinnati Bengal fan. How painful was that for you to, kind of get that on there for the Baltimore Ravens? Yeah.
Well, in terms of, I'm a fair weather fan, and so the Bengals, and I don't know. Something needs to happen. Their owner, they don't have a GM, and so the owner the team's going to be like this as long as the owner is there. He runs it as a business. He's like runs the team on profit margins versus victories.
Sure.
So that's why that wasn't hard to reach out to Matt Burke.
Okay. Yeah. For the Matt Burke thing.
So he was speaking at the March for Life that year, so it was like, oh,
dude,
this is perfect.
It's so awesome. I got to point him out. One of my friends who works for Breitbart News, I was with him, and it was at that March for Life where he was going to speaking. He was off stage, and I was like looking around because I was like kind of as an intern for the day, and I was like talking to some people, and it was cool to just see what he does in the day in the life of like a journalist. And I see this big dude. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Matt Burke. And my friend didn't recognize him. I'm like, that's him, dude. And he's like, that's got to be him speaking. And so he was able to snag an interview. But what a tremendous guy he is, like with a great story, so pro life. Like that's so awesome that you got his t-shirt stuff too. That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, so he has a public speaking. He does public speaking engagements, and so that's how I was able to get a hold of him. Awesome. I just emailed the folks that manage his public speaking engagements, and he was like, oh, heck yeah, man.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's awesome. Well, I think that's pretty much it, Derek, unless you have something.
No. I know. Hey, I want to get that like T-shirt. Like I survived the Costa Rica waterfall. I think that would be a great T-shirt, man.
Yeah, we need that one. Yeah. So, TJ, before we leave, how do we find you? If anyone wants to get in contact with you, what's your website? How do we follow you? Where's your Twitter? All that stuff.
And then for all social media, it's just Instagram /HousetopTees. You got Facebook /HousetopTees. Twitter /HousetopTees, and what do we got? Pinterest /HousetopTees. Those are the four I'm on.
Nice, that's awesome, man. Well, nice. Hey TJ, thank you so much. Nice, that's awesome, man. Well, thank you. Hey TJ, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really
my
appreciate
email
it.
Jonathan@housetoptees.com. I need to change it to TJ. at House Out Tees, but that's a
Yeah, there you go.
it's gonna bite me if I change the name, change the email. I'm not a computer guy. I'm gonna have to go back and redo too many things. So in due time.
Sure.
Email me with questions or suggestions, feedback. Tell me how awkward I was on this podcast, whatever. Whatever you want to say, I'll appreciate it. So
great, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been yeah, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been episode 16 of the Bad Catholic Dads podcast. Remember, we're running a giveaway with House Top Tees. Go to our Instagram, go to our Facebook, go to our Twitter, our social media, either House Top Tees or at Bad Catholic Dads to enter in to the giveaway, the t-shirt giveaway we're doing. We're doing 2 t-shirts, the House Top Tees that TeeJ is hooking us up with of your choice. There's another week on the giveaway, so it ends next Sunday, I believe. And so if you want to get on if you want to get on our website or our through our social media to figure out how to have a chance at winning. There's plenty of chances of winning. TeeJ, I don't know if you saw this, but I hope it's been working. I hope you've been getting a lot of followers or some followers.
I guess I haven't been following close enough. My wife does thankfully my wife does the social media.
She's like your social media person.
This is the biggest blessing of this whole company is that she magically took over the social media. I didn't even have to ask her. She just started doing it one day.
That's cool. Yeah, we'll have to. That's okay. Well, now I know behind the social media.
So like,
now.
if you get the replies and stuff, I mean, some of it would come from her, but I try to keep it.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Nice. But yeah, no. So I'm running the giveaway on my side, and we've gotten like over 100 entries. It's awesome. It's really cool. So definitely learn how to enter into the giveaway through our social media there. Derek, do you have any shout-outs this week? We like to do shout-outs on our podcast. TeeJ.
It's mostly I'm going to just shout out Nick Zazo, who he just recently graduated from Gonzaga High School. And he was the one that helped with the T-shirt design. It was really awesome timing because at the end of this work camp, he throws in there's like these care cards, which is just affirmative notes of, just trying to give positive things to say. And in it, like he had mentioned, we were just talking and he mentioned in it about listening to Bad Catholic Dads. I had no idea he was listening to it, So
that's awesome.
He's a really mature kid and everything like that. So shout out to him because he's actually listening to it. And I thought that was awesome.
That's cool, man. For my shout out, I want to shout out my in-laws. Recently, if you guys don't know, I'll probably say the story next podcast. We moved out of our apartment because we just bought a house and we're waiting for it to get built. And so we're living with my in-laws. So it's like seven of us in the house right now in like a 3-bedroom house, I think. So it's pretty crazy right now. So shout out to them for hooking us up and letting us stay there. If you don't know, you please follow us on social media at Bad Catholic Dads on iOS, SoundCloud, Google Play, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Leave us a review on iTunes, please. No new reviews again this week, so hopefully we'll get more reviews on the iTunes. It really helps out the podcast. And if you want to support us, you can support us on patreon.com/Bad Catholic Dads. And with that, I think that's the show. Derek, anything else to say?
Yeah, it was great being on.
TeeJ, again, thank you.
Thanks.
TeeJ, thank you. Yeah, thank you. All right, guys, till next week. We'll catch you next week. God bless and have a great week. Happy 4th of July, by the way, guys.
Oh, yeah.